takes me, I think, to the next obvious connection here is like, okay, the Old Testament points to Jesus, the New Testament records his life and ministry, but you know that the YouTube will tell you that the Bible was written like 600 years after it allegedly happened, so why should we trust the Bible at all?
Yes. Great
Again,
question.
I'm sure you have like 18 hours on YouTube answering all
Yes.
this, but the overview,
Yeah.
because, you know, one of the things that I'm sure you've
Yeah.
heard and that it gets thrown out there a lot is just, why trust the Bible? This was invented by man. It's hundreds of years after. It's been changed 1,000 times. It's corrupt, blah, blah, blah. First
Yes.
of all, where do you even start that conversation when, whether talking to your youth group or some of their skeptical friends, where do you even start building the case for the Bible?
Okay, this is where it starts to get hairy because in my experience, this is what happens. People tend to hold beliefs and they've never really thought them through. So the first time their beliefs get challenged, it's a very can be a very shattering experience. So you hear, well, the Bible's been changed, and you don't know that it has been changed, but you just heard that it has been changed, and so now you're worried. And then you hear some examples from guys like Bart Ehrman or people who follow them about corruption in the manuscripts and how many variants there are and that sort of thing. So if you study just a little bit, you get freaked out, especially if you're only hearing the one side, the skeptical version of things. But if you then study a little bit more, you start to realize that there are intelligent, rational responses to these things. Now, but they can be summarized. So like Bart Ehrman is probably the premier anti-Bible scholar in the world right now. Everybody who hates the Bible loves Bart Ehrman. This is just the way it is, right? Now, let me give an example from him. He wrote a book saying the Bible's full of over 300,000 variants in the New Testament manuscripts. It's been changed. It was corrupted on purpose and blah, blah, blah. At the end of this book, it's called Misquoting Jesus. At the end of this book, there was originally an appendix where it was a Q&A. And one of the questions he was asked was, so what do you think the text of the Bible originally read? How different was it from what we have now? And Bart Ehrman says, oh, we pretty much have the text the way it was written. Now, how could he, at the end of a book, railing accusations against the Bible, conclude that it's pretty much exactly the same, as it was originally written? Because it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, is what it is. It's a lot of big numbers and examples that don't really connect once you draw them to their conclusion. People just get intimidated by the scholarliness of it, and so I deal with that stuff in the video series. But the short answer, if someone goes, well, the Bible's been totally changed, the short answer is no, it hasn't. but the better way to put it is this: to the skeptic who says the Bible's been changed, you say, then give me an example of, say, how Christianity should be today instead of what we actually believe. What should I believe that I don't believe today based on the changes that you find in the scripture? Or are they these vague changes and you're not really sure where they are, but they're all there. There's a lot of them there. Trust me, you can't trust the text. So study a little bit, you get freaked out. Study more, you get a lot of confidence because you realize there's these great answers. So in that series, Evidence for the Bible, I have a video called Defending Daniel. Since I quote several prophecies from the book of Daniel, and they say Daniel was written after these things happened, I go ahead and I actually tackle the reasons they give for why Daniel was supposedly written late. And we show that those things they're not reasonable. Some people are just looking for an excuse to dismiss the scriptures. And others are simply hearing those people offer their one-sided criticisms, and they fall for it.